didn't have to knock me out, but I'm still holding the throne. You never know till it's over. So pretty it hurts. Just beware of the thorns.
Hello YouTube. I want to, first of all, before I get into what I'm going to talk about, I want to give a shout out to Chad Marks of Blood on the Razor Wire. I want to thank him for having me on his show. I want to thank his subscribers. They were all very nice, and it was just amazing. And it's nice being over there. And anybody who, I know a lot of you guys are from his channel, but those of you who are not, you may want to check him out. He's got good content. He's always trying to help people, and he supports me fully. You know, I can't say enough about him. But he's helping people every day, not just on his channel, but every day. He goes out and helps people. That's what he does. So big shout out to him, and I want to thank all the members on this channel that joined as members. I want to thank all the subscribers, new and old. And I want to thank everybody who comments. You guys are awesome. And, you know, I've always been a modest person, you know, and always kind of quiet. But it would take a lot to humble me, and you guys have humbled me. I mean, everybody from the oldest subscribers to the newest, to those who comment, to people like Chad. I mean, you guys leave me almost with a loss for words, and all I can say is thank you. Now, if you're new here, this is your first time here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Share, you know, like. Now let's get into what you guys really came here for. Today I think I'm going to talk about the different types of cells. And, you know, when I was at the walls, they had these cells. I could reach my hands out, stand in the middle and reach my hands out and touch the walls on both sides. And just imagine two people being in there. You had a bunk bed. You had a toilet in the back. And then you had all your property, you know. Just imagine that. And fortunately, most of the people I was in a cell with were either small or slim, you know. And I was too. So just imagine just bigger guys in there, you know. It's not much room at all. And when I went back to this, the walls as a, you know, on a trip, just to go through it and see it. Mainly, I wanted to see my old cells. Only got to see one. But between 3 and 2 house, they was digging up old cells. That used to be where they had cages, you know, for people that, for their wreck. But underneath there, they was digging up these cells. And a lot of them was only like 4 feet high. I just can't imagine. And so they've gradually gotten bigger all the time. When I got to Farmington, now, you know, the cells at the walls were all open. There's bars in the front. So it was very loud. And you heard everybody, you know, I heard all this noise, music playing, all this stuff going on. I get to Farmington, and the hole in R&O was in, at that time, was in 5 house. And I remember being in there my first day, and it's just, I couldn't get used to it. The cell was bigger. There's no bars in the front. The window in the back. The walls, you didn't have a window in the back. And you could open this window. You couldn't open it all the way. You could just open it out a little bit. But it was so quiet. You know, other people were complaining about noise, but to me, it was quiet. It was so quiet that for a while, it was hard for me to sleep. And then I didn't know which way to sleep. You know, I should have faced the window, should have, lay so I can look at the door. And so I finally decided on laying so that my feet were towards the door and that I could jump up if I had to, and I think that's the way most people do. I've seen a few that would sleep the other way, but there was a lot more room to move around, and even the corner cells were even bigger. And when you got in population, if you got a corner cell, people would pay you $25-$30 to have that cell because they wanted it. It was a lot bigger. I mean, they was huge on the corners for some reason. But and I was only in the corner cell a couple times while I was there. I was there 6 years, but they had a heater in there that ran along the wall where the window was at in the back. You had a bunk bed, and you had a toilet, sink, and you had this desk, and you had wooden footlockers too. Each each person had a footlocker. It was a wooden footlocker. At the walls, I think they was metal, if I remember correctly. Maybe they used wooden too. I can't. It's been a long time. I can't really remember, but they eventually got metal over time, But you had this desk, you had this stool, and so usually the stool was for the person on the top bunk, so he got the desk, or whoever was there first, I guess. But you open this desk up where the door to the cabinet was at, and you had the top and bottom. One was for your cellie and one was for you. If you used top bunk, generally you had the top cabinet. If you used bottom, you had the bottom. The bottom was always best. You had to, you didn't have to jump up and down out of your bunk, and also the bottom part of the desk thing where your stuff was at was bigger. It wasn't, the shelf in between was higher than you had more space. And then, of course, like I said, you had the foot lockers, and you had these lights that, at the walls. To turn on your light, you pulled this cord and a little light bulb came on. But it was above your sink. Here it was still above the sink, but it's fluorescent, and it was bright. And I didn't like them. They kind of gave you a headache, but I never could. Some cellies wanted them on all the time, and I didn't like to have them on. There's other people that didn't like having them on too. So one of the reasons I got along with Kevin so well, he didn't like that light either. But I remember one time, they have a button on the outside they could push and turn it on. And I remember one time they came out with the rule that we had to turn our lights on and be standing for count. Well, a bunch of us was against that. And we said, no, why should we have to turn on the light when you're going by for count? All you have to do is push the button. So a bunch of people decided they was going to resist, not do it. What are they going to do? Put us all in the hole? Well, there was only 4 of us that did it. It was me, my cellie, and another cell. And other guys backed out, all talk and no do. It got like that worse over the years. People say they're going to do something and won't do it. And absolutely cannot stand those type of people. can't depend on them to ride with you. That's why you guys are my dogs and road dogs. You guys have been riding with me, and I appreciate it. Of course, in prison, that has a different meaning. You know, when you ride, it's for a different reason. You know, it's time to handle business. But then I got sent to Potosi from there. The hole in Potosi, the bottom bunk was concrete, and the top one was like a regular bunk, but the bottom was concrete because it was originally made for just one person. But I liked them. You know, you put your mattress on there, and you had this like space at the end that you could set stuff on, cups and stuff. But in the regular general population, it pretty much looked like I described Farmington, except the windows were long windows that went up and down. You know, it's about 6 inches wide, I would say, and I don't know how tall they were, but they made them so you couldn't get your head out. You know, it was like 6 inches that you could look out the width, and but you had these plastic tubs. Everybody got, I think if I remember correctly, two apiece, and all your property had to go in there. If you was not using your property, it had to go in there, in that tub. For example, if you wasn't drinking a cup of coffee, the cup was empty, it had to go in there. If they caught you with an empty cup, they'd write you up. Everything had to be neat, you know. Which all I did was just kept a little bit of water or coffee in my cup. I mean, they say something, I'm using it, you know. But when I first got there and I was in the hole, and I told you guys before in other videos I was doing 9 months in the hole for number 3, they had this button, and I thought it was to turn the light on. I didn't know it was the panic button. So I pushed it, and I just kept pushing it, and the light wasn't coming on, you know, and all of a sudden here's a bunch of guards at the door. They said, "What's wrong?" I said, "This light won't come on." And they said, "You're pushing the panic button." And I said, "Well, nobody told me that." You know, I said, "In other prisons, it turns the light on." And they said, "No, this is a panic button. Don't be pushing that. We'll write you up the next time." So, you know, that was a safety thing. You know, I guess if you had a health thing going on, you know, maybe having a heart attack or you're hurt or something, you could hit that. Maybe if you're having problems with your celly, you could hit it, you know. If I was having problems with my celly, I ain't going to hit it. I mean, it's just the way I am. I'm just going to try to handle my business, you know. And anyway, from there I went to Bowling Green. The cells in Bowling Green were, that was odd for me too, because you had a key to your own cell, and we was told that you lose your key, it's going to cost you $100. And I always wondered why it cost $100. They told me this because not only do they have to replace your key, but they have to replace your celly's key, and they have to replace the whole locking mechanism. So other than that, they was pretty much it's the same. I think if I remember correctly, they had 2 windows, but one was more of a vent. One was a window, like I said, about 6 inches wide. The other one was about the same width, but you could turn it and it let outside air in. You know, it's like a vent in there. And from there, I got sent to South Central Correctional Center, Licking, Missouri. They it's pretty much the same. You know, as I described, um, all the modern prisons, the cells pretty much look the same. You know, you had the long windows, 6 inches wide or however wide they were. Um, I think the bunks were in a different position than some of the other places, but it was. I was there the longest. Out of all the prisons I was in, I was there the longest, and they had in the they had single man cells in the hole. They had a hole for single man. They had one for 2-man cell holes, and of course Potosi did too. But I was never in the single man cell in Potosi. But um, I will tell you that um, if when they put me in the single man, there was something about it different, and I don't know what it was. I to this day I can't figure out what it was, but there was something different about the cell, even though to me it looked the same. Maybe it was just because it wasn't bunk beds. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. Then I get sent to Algoa, and Algoa was strange. I really, to be honest, I wanted to be sent back to South Central Correctional Center. They had the big dorm, which I never got put in, and I'm glad. But these housing units, which look like houses, like stone houses, but you start off in I think it's a 14-man room, and that was just, it was hard for me to go to sleep there too, because you had all these people in there. And I remember when I came in there, this guy tells me, he said, yeah, there was 14 people in there. I remember now because of what I'm getting ready to say. He said, oh, you're my new bunkie, huh? They didn't call them cellies, they called them bunkies because, there's several of you in your room. And I didn't say nothing, He says, you got to go somewhere? I said, yeah. They're calling me down to see the caseworker. Then I got to go to medical. He goes, well, you can just leave your stuff on your mattress that nobody's going to bother it. And he goes, you ain't got a combination lock? I said, I just came from a maximum security prison. They don't have combination locks there. I said, but this is my combination. Right here. I said, that's my lock. And I know the combination. And he kind of laughed. He goes, I don't mean nothing by it. He goes, I'll just keep an eye on your stuff. Nobody will take it, I said, there's 13 of you in this room. I said, somebody takes my stuff, I'll find it. It's that simple. And so I leave, and, everybody else is just looking at me like, wow, who's this dude? But then from there, you gradually, people leave, as a cell opens up. And they'll send you down this hallway and put you in a 2-man cell. And kind of reminds me of the walls, except only the door was barred. The rest of it was concrete. And the door opened instead of sliding. And it wasn't too big either. It was bigger than the ones at the walls, but smaller than the other cells I've described. And so then from there I got sent to Farmington to work in the laundry, and back to Farmington. But I was in a different housing unit this time. The one is kind of like outside the prison, but not outside the prison. It's where they kept all the laundry workers. And wars closed for like 7 different hospitals in the area. And this housing unit was strange. I mean, it's like a maze. It had different levels, and the halls turned this way and that way. I mean, you go down this way a little ways, and you have to turn and go down this way. And it's like a labyrinth. But some of the rooms had just 2 people in it, which I was unfortunate not to have. Mine had, let's see, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It held 8 people. But it depending on what room you got put in, there's a different amount of people. You know, there was I think mine had the most though. There was 8 people. I said after that, I think it went down. You know, maybe 6, whatever. I don't think they had a single man one. But the craziest thing about that really wasn't the rooms, which I didn't really like because, like I said, I don't like it where there's several people in a room. But like I said, the maze to get to your room, you know. After I first moved in there and I left, and coming back, I think, man, I hope I know how to find my way back to my room. And you got a key to that room too. So, like if everybody left, you know, we usually locked the room up, you know, the door. So you had to have your key with you. If you didn't, you're going to have to wait until somebody came back and then go in. Anyway, that's the different types of cells. And I think maybe next time I'm either going to talk about this one cellie I had, or I'm going to talk about the different types of cellies. But I haven't decided yet. I can do both of them and have them on 2 different times. But either way, thank you guys again. Bottom of my heart, I mean it. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.